right, it is 2 o'clock on Friday, December 20th, 2024. We'll go ahead and call this special called meeting of McGregor City Council to order. First agenda item that we have is discussion and possible action regarding change order for addition of rail switch.
Jack, if you want to talk about that just a little bit, I'll let you know that we had another change order we thought was coming. It's not going to be here, but this one's going to hold the company in place long enough to be able to get that done before they get away so that we can do the extension. But this change order makes quite a bit of sense as well.
Well, good afternoon, Mayor, Council. As Kevin mentioned, this change order is for an additional rail switch, specifically for Knopf. There's been a lot of back and forth, and we just felt like it was best for W.T. Byler to go ahead and get it put in while they're there. I think it's a benefit to the city, just because we're now kind of in control of. There's been some back and forth between us and Knopf and their engineer on the exact location. So it kind of puts you in control of where that's going. We feel like we're putting it where they need it. I mean, we're not going to just randomly set it somewhere, but just to make things a little bit easier on our part and on the city's part and W.T. Byler's part, we just feel like it'd be better to go ahead and include it in that. So included with this change order is the material for the switch and a little bit of additional track that'll get to what's called the clear point. And it's basically just it's the nearest point, or it's the point that is 14-foot offset from the main track. And so similar to what y'all would be maintaining for off of, say, BNSF's track, it's the same thing. Y'all's maintenance begins at that clear point. So it's a very similar situation in this regard. Is y'all would be maintaining up to that clear point. Everything past that would be Knopf's responsibility. So that's what's included in this, the materials to do the switch and get the track to that clear point. And then for Knopf's contractor, that's where they would tie in and finish the rail up to their facility.
It also keeps it on the second schedule, which is not the first schedule, but if we don't do this, it'll probably delay because Byler has to be gone before and done before the Knopf contractor can connect up. They can't work the same area together. So this keeps it on the second schedule, or the schedule we're living with now, and I think that's probably the most important thing. We don't need any more delays in this deal.
All right.
You know, I fully, in listening to you, I didn't get it clear as to, I'm not understanding, why shouldn't it be where all of y'all are on the same page? The way you saying it, really not exactly what they want, may not be what they wanted, it could be. So I'm asking,
Sure.
why wouldn't it be that everybody that's going to be involved in putting that there?
So a little bit of history on it. We had it set at a certain location that Knopf and their engineer and contractor asked us to set it, and that was the original location. And then they made some changes during construction of their site that affected the location of that tie-in. And so when we moved it and set it at a certain point, provided that information back to them whenever they incorporated it into their drawings. And to be clear, we're talking about maybe 6 inches off. But when it comes to rail, you really need to be precise. So, but we've coordinated back and forth with them, and we feel like now we're to a point where everybody's on board. They're comfortable with the coordinates that we're proposing. We're good with the coordinates. So I would say at this point in time, we are on the same page. There's just been, I think, for us to go ahead and do it within W.T. Byler's contract, that kind of takes all that questioning out of, if they end up not being able to tie in, then that's on their end and it's not the city's responsibility.
Yeah, because when you were talking at first,
Sure.
I didn't get that wasn't the way
Okay.
it sounded.
Yeah.
You know.
No, we're on the same page with Knopf and their contractor, but because there has been some confusion in the past, I feel like for the city, it puts y'all on the better side of the deal. Whereas if they came in and things were off, then they would say, oh, well, the city didn't do what they were supposed to do. And in this scenario, it takes that out of the question on y'all's part.
Does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Henson?
We are ready to be done with rail.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, and just to let y'all know, this is coming out of the contingency allowance that is part of the project. So it's not an increase in the cost, in the overall cost to the project that y'all have approved previously. It'll actually be a net zero change to the contract price.
All right, at this time, I'd entertain a motion regarding the change order for the addition of the rail switch, also referring to change order number 2.
I'll make a motion to approve the change order for addition of rail switch number 2.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Agenda item number 3, discussion and possible action regarding change order for extension of rail spur.
That's table.
That is, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and skip over
You'll see
that one?
You'll see that in January.
All right. Agenda item number 4, discussion and possible action regarding approval of resolution R 16-2024, a resolution to make certain improvements, mill and overlay of taxiway Alpha to the McGregor Executive Airports. That was included with our packets.
Mayor and council, this is a project we're doing with TxDOT to mill and overlay taxiway Alpha. It's gotten pretty bad. This is some of the cracks in the edges that are fluffing off. Alpha is a little over 5,000 foot long. And we need to, the way TxDOT works, if you get a project, if we don't do it now, we're looking at 5 years before we could get it before them again to get something done. And by that time, it may be more extensive of a job than what it is now.
Now, this project is included with that, was it a federal?
Yes, it would be a
money?
90-10 grant.
Okay.
The first year would be for the design and engineering, and then the next year would be a separate grant for the construction.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Barry?
So the total is this 1.89?
Yes, that's a total on the project.
For
The
the design and engineering and the
yes,
work.
that's total.
Okay.
I think the design breaks down to 9,000, our part on just the design this year.
Okay.
All right, any other questions?
I make a motion that we approve resolution R 16/2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Being at the end of our agenda, it is 2:09 PM. We'll go ahead and adjourn.
Merry Christmas, everybody.